Welcome back to This Side of 40. This is your girl Lou, and I wanted to show you guys my options for the products I want to pan next year, just because I feel like everybody's getting ready for next year's panning, especially those of us who have been home for a minute, just basically going through our products and seeing what we could possibly pan next year. So I have 3 palettes that I'm interested in panning for next year. I definitely can say that the palettes that I'm thinking about palette panning would make it so that I could play with the rest of my collection and still get a lot out of them. So let's get into them. First off, this BH Cosmetics eyeshadow palette, and there's 26 shades in here, and this is what it's looking like. And it has 5 blushes in here. No, yeah, 5 blushes in here, and then all these shadows. I definitely could see myself panning this. Now, it's a lot of shimmers in this particular palette. That's the only thing that makes me apprehensive about using this, because I have never just did the one shimmer eyeshadow look and done. However, I did try it the other day and it went pretty good. I definitely can say I got compliments on it. However, it's just not really my je ne sais quoi, and it would force me to get better at that. Then next I have the Profusion palette, and this is the warm neutrals palette. Now, if you've been with me for a minute, and see it's not even open, you know that I don't wear neutrals very often. However, with these being warm neutrals, I definitely could see myself using this one, especially because there are quite a few shades in here that are definitely matte, and on top of that, there's only 4 shades that are in this palette that I definitely say I wouldn't be using, and that's these 2 and these 2. Other than that, everything in here I could use, just because these shades would go to chalk on my skin. Not saying that they're not good shadows, just not for my complexion. Now, if you've been with me for a minute, you remember this palette. Me and Grandma got this at a makeup blowout sale, and this has been a favorite eyeshadow palette of mine for a while. This is by Beauty Creations. Now, this is their olive palette. Now, this palette, because I am very much so into the jewel tones, and this is full of jewel tones and neutrals, and it has different a lot of different shades in it now, and it does have dual chromes and all of that in it. That basically is the reason why I definitely have been thinking about panning this palette itself. Now, goal for me next year is to get hit pan on each of the eyeshadows that are in each one of the palettes that whichever palette I decide to pan. But those are the 3 palettes that I'm thinking about panning next year as far as full palettes. Now, I am gonna do the mini pan your palette thing next year, just because I seen Kana, not Kana, what's her name? Gosh, the girl who has the channel that Beauty Gourmet made me did it, and I'm gonna remember her name in a minute, and it's gonna make me like kick myself. But I had this Tarte palette, never used it. I thought about doing either this one for my mini palette, or one of my either doing my neutral palette here and the matte palette from, no, not this one here, my Sterling palette from LA Colors, because this has plenty of shades that if I wanted to play with other colors, it would be easy to play with one of those palettes, and or my Milani, and this one is in Milani Gold, just because I like the glitter and the gold in here. Those would be the 3 pallets I would think about panning if I was gonna do like next year, definitely when I'm gonna do a mini pallet, so that I could have some pallets to pan next year. Those are definitely the ones I want to work on. One of the of 3 of all of those. If you have any advice, or if you have one that you feel like I should do, let me know. And I just can't wait till next year's projects come out, because I'm excited. It's always my favorite part of the year. So I'll see you guys next time on this side of 40, and have a nice night.